Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought on another fantastic guest. But please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And one more time, I'm going to show it because we have on Kickstarter, we have the Oswald Chronicles currently running. So these are the 2 issues. Go check it out. You know, the mouse is on fire. And without further ado, let's bring on our guest, Mr. Travis Gibb. How are you, sir?
Hey, JD, how are you?
I'm good, man. You know how it is.
Question for you: how does it feel to have a mouse? In the current political climate? Like, is your mouse in trouble? Do people talk bad about your mouse?
No, fortunately, not yet. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm pretty sure there's going to be room. There's always room for that. So I mean, but yeah, it's we'll see what happens. I mean, look, I'll take whatever news I can get.
Right. Any news is good news, right? You can spin it however you want.
Exactly. Now, we've spoken once before, so we've gone. I think we probably went through all the basics, like how do you write and how do you do this and we did all that stuff. So we're just gonna jump right into the meat of this sucker, right? So why Cthulhu invading stories? Not like there's really a good reason. Not that it's not a good reason, but what was your reason?
So there's 2 reasons. There's the marketing side of me, and there's the it makes a lot of money side. Which one you want to hear? Because I'll be honest. Like my wife, I just did Broke Down #1, and she's like, "What do you think would be the most successful Kickstarter that you could do?" I was like, "Easy. Cthulhu kills it every time. He's 20 plus. Everyone who does a Cthulhu." As long as they know how to market, if you don't know how to market, you don't get that. They're 20 plus, easy. So what I would do is I would grab my best friends in comics and people who I know are above me and have Cthulhu do something. So that's what I came up with. And then when I decided to develop a concept, I thought Cthulhu invading, something else that would be public domain would be kind of cool. Because let's be honest, odds of you and I at our age, because we're both older up there, probably not going to get a Marvel or DC gig. Like, it's probably not. We'd like it, and maybe we're lucky, and maybe we'll get lucky and do a 4-page of an annual, towards the end of our career, because someone else made it up there, and they're like, "Hey, I remember you. You're still doing that mouse book."
Exactly.
You want to draw the 4-page of Spidey, and just so you know, it's Mary Jane getting a present. That's all you got.
That's it.
Right. No meat, no nothing. You can't have any bad guys. Just Spider-Man giving a gift. But if you take public domain characters like Oz or Wonderland, you have these characters that are iconic, that are gonna outlive us by generations. And you kind of get that feeling of, I could be part of that history. So I really took that into consideration and to heart when I decided to do that. And we started adding, a narrative. So when I do an anthology, it's not a normal anthology. Yes, it's people taking characters and doing stuff, but there's a beginning, middle, and end to Oz and to Wonderland. There's a beginning, middle, and end to the whole thing.
Cool.
So the serialized storytelling. So that's kind of how it all came to be and what's together. And really, I wanted to work with people who were better than me to learn from them. Like, flat out, I knew that it would raise a decent amount of money. And the second one is, what can I learn? So how can I get people who are more talented than me that I can learn from?
Gotcha. So what's up, Mr. Sim?
Hey, Sim.
So, Mr. Ink Slayer.
He's playing some inks, is what it says. He's an ink slayer.
No, he is the Ink Slayer.
The Ink Slayer. So there was other Ink Slayers, but he was like, "Nah, bro. Like, I am slaying these inks."
So I mean, that's cool. Now, you said there was another aspect to it. What's the other aspect?
The other aspect is the building a portfolio for people. So I really want, I know what I'm good at. So I'm really good at marketing. I'm really good at getting my name out there, whether it's good or bad. People know about my stuff that comes out. I have a decent following on Kickstarter. I have a decent following in the direct market, their comic stores. So grabbing some of these people who I know are talented, because I back so many Kickstarters, I'm like at 657, finding a couple of those and moving them over and getting them a little bit more exposure. To do all that. So we're like we're 4 turtles.
There you go.
I like that. I was born where the Ninja Turtles were from. I'm from Dover, New Hampshire, where they're from. I think that's why I do indie.
Hey, listen, my turtle story for it's what inspired me to do comics was Teenage Ninja Turtles #2 when I saw it in the Comic Buyer's Guide.
Yeah. You know? Well, my favorite comic of all time is debatable, either Crimson #7 or the Leonardo issue of TMNT, where he gets beat up by the foot the whole issue, and they're like celebrating Christmas at the bottom. Like, it blows me away. The art is fantastic. It's so good. But growing up, I saw Eastman and Lard on the regular, so I saw them on the regular. Yeah. So I for me, like, they were just guys in my town doing comics, okay? And then I get a little bit higher, and then the Tick comes out. The Tick is New England Comics, and that's everywhere because it kind of spelled off of Ninja Turtles. I'm like, oh my God, there's another indie guy doing cool stuff. And then when I come to the age where I can buy whatever I want, Image blows up. So I'm like, oh, this is easy. You just make a comic and like, boom.
Right. Yeah.
That's not the way it works, but that's the way I thought growing up because that's all I had.
Yeah. You know, what's sad is that we both missed it by about 10 years.
Right.
Because in the 80s, you could have put out a book, 14, 15 distributors, and you could have put out a book at that time, like about 84, 85. You could have put out a book, easy 5,000 copies, easy. If you really push it, 10, 20, 30,000, depending on what you had on the covers or whatever, and black and white interiors. You didn't even need color back then. It's crazy.
Yeah. So when did you start? So I started around 2002, 2003. When did you start?
My first published book came out in 92.
Okay. All right. So you remember the old days, the real stuff where we had to buy stuff and sit at a con table, and we just had our stack. In variant covers, especially when you started getting to 2000, variant covers were a plague. Like they killed us. Like they're walking around yelling at you for having variant covers. I just made this con exclusive for you. I don't care. You ruined comics. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't make you rub the blood. I'm so sorry.
Exactly.
That was wrong. And I'm still like, literally, I just got this from WonderCon. Someone sent it to me. I paid for it. I'm still a mark for it. I bought this hoping something inside would be different. There's nothing. That's a Bloodstrike costume I've never seen before. So I bought it. Rob reprinted it, signed it, and I paid $60. And I'm out $60 now for stuff I already have.
See, that's the one thing, man. If you like it, you like it. So you get it. Right. That's it. So Sim is like, I'm the Leo of the group. Sim equals Leo. Okay, I don't. Mickey, Low Bacon. I don't know these people.
Mikey. He's telling you the whole crew.
Exactly. Yeah.
But back in the day, you had to pay to play. Kickstarter wasn't an option. You paid to play, and it was a money game. It was how far can your money go?
Yeah.
Like, can you make that money at a con? The positive is cons were a little bit more. The people who were there, that because you had to pay to get in, there was less competition, and someone who was into comics would normally always stop at your table to talk to you. They may not buy, but they would talk to you, and you'd have the shot to pitch to them, which you don't now because everybody can do Kickstarter and do stuff like that. So you'll be blown over because there's a whole row of people like you who could do it.
Yeah, and in God forbid Bill Shatner. I love Bill Shatner, don't get me wrong, but God forbid Bill Shatner's at the show. Forget about it for the Indie Comics guys. You guys, we're done. I've always found Bill Shatner as a precursor to the destruction of a show for indie publishers.
I was at a MegaCon a couple of years ago, and it was the most insane thing. It was William Shatner was there and George Takei, but they refused to come on the same days. And it was ridiculous. And like, all you're doing is pissing off fans. Like, you don't have to take pictures together, but like, let that Star Trek fan come on one day, right? Have booths across the table. You don't have to sit next to each other. You don't have to like each other. But don't make the poor guy buy a 2-day pass if all he wanted was Star Trek stuff.
Too true. Hold on. Sim says, yep, it's why I like that Kickstarter comic game got broken and then evolved. Mike Jimmy says, morning lovelies. What's up, Mike? But yeah, I mean, but because when I started, you had to print at least 3,000 books. You wanted a comic, it was 3,000 books,
right.
or an ash can. If you were doing ash cans, you could do ash cans. Those are just those are just Xerox copies at that time, not even laser copies.
Right.
And even that took a process because you had to know how to lay out a book. You know?
Yeah, and I remember picking up those, and even pros had ash cans. You know, I mean, Gen X had ash can. You know,
yep.
You know, just going how far Marvel and DC dabbled into a little bit, and I had ash cans. You know, I'd print up. And I had 40 or whatever because that's all I could afford to print. And I folded them and stapled them myself, hand numbered them, and did the stuff. And in fact, when I did my first broke down, I handed out some ash cans, some old ash cans in the trade, which is completely different art because that was the way you did it. And you got a couple of bucks that way, and then you went out and hope you had a beer with somebody, and that you got the big break that never came. You know.
True. There was Daphne and I used to do SPX down in Baltimore, right?
Right.
So we did 1 year. We came down and we had ash cans. We probably bought 300 of those things because we had like issues 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 and 12 tales. I don't even remember what it was, but we walked home. We came home. Got the two huge boxes. Right. We came home with a tiny stack like this.
Sure.
All right. So we sold a metric shit ton of those things. So we come back the next year. We had gotten into, at that point, I got into POD printing.
Right.
It's when it really started up.
Sure.
Right. And I was brokering. So I got this stuff and it was printed professionally. Looked great. I put those up on the table. Man, we did terrible that year. It was, I was just like, all right, so you'll buy the, stapled bubblegum thing, but you won't buy the professionally printed stuff. It was crazy.
But it's the way it is. People want to be on the cutting edge. They want to. That's what Kickstarter does well in Indiegogo, crowdfunding in general. What it does is it makes it feel like and I know you're not like this. I'm not like this. Daphne's not like. We're going to make books regardless. If Kickstarter went away, we just figure out a different way to do it. It's just an easier way to do it and get it to the fans. Helps us build a fan base, but we'd find a way anyways. Yeah. But it makes people believe that if this doesn't if they don't help us out, like it's not going to happen. It's going to happen. It's just going to happen a different way. But that makes it excitement. But it's no different than Apple. I just watched a commercial later on today that says the new iPhone is green. Like, come get it. It's just green, guys. It's not that special. But there's a percentage of their fans who are going to go, I'm going to get that green iPhone. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to put it in an effing case. So they're never going to see that green anyways.
Exactly. They need to get that clear gel case. Maybe, who knows?
Right. But it makes it an event. Kickstarter makes your stuff an event, that you're excited about it. I heard you in an interview or something recently where you're like, if I'm not doing a Kickstarter, I don't feel like I'm working. Like, I feel the same way. Like,
yeah.
If I'm not, that's why I do so many. If I'm not on a Kickstarter, I don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything.
Yeah. Dude, I write every day, right? I'm on a train, I'm writing. I'm coming home from work, I'm writing, right? I come home, I do a little whatever, and then I'm writing. So it's every day. But if I'm not doing a Kickstarter, it feels like I'm not doing anything. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah. But I guess it's because I guess for myself, it's like I'm constantly feeding my artists. So, whatever money I get from that, I just give it to them. So if I'm not working, I'm not on Kickstarter, I'm not feeding them. So what is this? So here's where Simmons hanging out. What's it? Crowdfunders are a damn full-time job, but they are.
They absolutely are, especially if you do them at high caliber. Like, we're at what is it? 37, almost 3,800. That's a different beast. Like, you don't even know like the amount of work. I'm on interviews. I was on an interview right before here. We have 3 or 4 a night. I have to schedule crews to go in them. It's a whole thing. It's not easy. And the more successful you are, is the harder it is. It's not. There's a sweet spot. Right. There's a sweet spot. Like that $5,000 is a sweet spot. Just stay there if you can. If you can afford it, it's just good. It's nice. It's level. You feel the pressure, but you don't feel it that bad. It's good.
That segues into my next question.
Yeah.
Big success brings big joy and stresses. What are they for you?
So obviously, seeing people come over. So here's the thing. It's super successful. But there's always that caveat, right?
Right.
Like, I'm a great writer, I think, right? But, the most successful thing I do is Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. I didn't make either of that shit, right? I put it together, but I didn't make it, right? So there's always that caveat, the but. And then, and even like people who like me and know that I'm a good creator, they'll still say that but, right? Like, let's say we're off the air and somebody be like, yeah, but Travis had this guy's mythology. That's why. Because everyone who's creating comics looks at, if someone does really well, why did they do really well? And we pick it apart. We're like, and it's not because we're trying to be crappy to them. It's we're trying to figure out how much it would cost us to get there. Right? Exactly. This cover cost him that. Okay, I can write that down if I get that. They're trying to figure out that math. So that's the negative side of being ultra successful. It's really good, but it comes with that asterisk. And that breaks my heart. And here's the other thing that I just realized. So I have another idea, JD, that I can't tell you the idea. No, but it's really, really good. And I've signed like 6 creators on it, and they think it's really, really good. Here's my fear. It is really, really good, and it's going to be really successful. But now I'm basically an editor, right? Not like a Chuck editor or my wife editor who's editing for grammar and stuff. I'm that, here's what we're going to do for Spider-Man for the next 2 years, right? Like, I'm an editor because I'm doing Cthulhu and I'm editing things. I don't want to do that. Just because I'm good at it doesn't mean that's what I want to do.
You have become a project manager, sir.
Right. I don't want to do that. I don't care if I'm good at it, right? You know. So that's the caveat. But the positive is, I have a potential of all these new fans to sell them my properties forever, right? Because now they are an Orange Phone fan. They're in my family. So the almost 700 backers are now really, really a good prime for me to say, hey, you like Cthulhu? All right, I got this voodoo thing. You like voodoo? Does that work? All right, doesn't work. All right, cool. I got this punk thing. You like punk? You like crime? What do you like? Finding something that builds in that audience with something I create, so I can bring that over. Because realistically, I'm sure you know this number too, and I'll share my number. I have about on Kickstarter about 250 fans. So whatever I do, I got about 250 backers that'll follow me on pretty much any project I do that I'm the main guy on. And then I have probably another 75 outside of Kickstarter from all my cons and stuff, which for the amount of cons I do is not great, by the way. Right. Like in shows and stuff, but they do stuff. So I know what that number is because I am always trying to reach that 1,000, right? That magic 1,000 that's gonna change everything, right? And I'm getting there. So trying to build that. So every time I do one of these bigger projects, I hope to be able to get a couple that are all in on Orange Cone to go to that next level and to bring us to that next level.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, I'm at probably 60, 70. Whereas like if I launch, they're there. And it's just like, okay, I know I'm gonna make 25 to 3,000 no matter what happens. It's just gonna happen because these people are gonna show up. Then it's just a matter of just like, just struggling ahead, man. But 250 is a good number,
Yeah, I'm very proud. I've worked really hard to get that. Yeah, it's really, really, really hard to get it, but it's trying to figure out. And what I've been able to do that you haven't, you stay on the same book, which is great. And like longevity is super important. I have different titles, so that helps me out a little bit. It helps me and hurts me. They both have their thing. Like you, when you do a trade, can do really, really well because you're producing trades easier and they're coming out faster. So when you're at a con, you probably outsell me all day because you're getting the bigger numbers per thing where I don't have that, right? So it's all none of them's wrong. It's just different, and that's what I think that a lot of indie creators don't understand. Like, numbers is just one little factor of it. It's all that extra stuff. Because then when I look at you, you've got your wife has a also massive catalog. So when you lay up at a booth, you're like, we're representing. Like, I've never seen your booth, but I'd love to see a picture. We represent, and we represent a particular market who will come here. Who's gonna like both of our books because they're similar in certain aspects.
Yeah. Well, between the two of us, we got 3 books. We got the Oswald Chronicles, which is mine. She has Ego Raven, which is hers, and then we have Tall Tales, which is ours. Right. So yeah, it gets a little crazy. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just like the more we do it, it's just getting bigger and bigger. But we're not stopping for anything. So it's nuts. So let me ask you this. So you got the first Cthulhu book, you got the second Cthulhu book. How many more of them do you plan on doing?
You want the whole thing, or you want just the next one?
no, I mean, you know,
let's break down the master plan. We're Indy Comics Explained, right? That's what we're talking about, right? I gotta explain it. So the next plan, we're doing Cthulhu Invades Neverland, which will be a smaller book because of the lack of characters.
Okay.
Stuff, and that'll be kind of like our Star Wars, right? This is our first trilogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of off. It's kind of all connected. And we'll have. I'm going to do a book after that called Aftermath. Are you a role player at all, JD?
I used to be. I haven't done it in a while, but back in the
used to be is good enough. Yeah. You remember how we used to buy books, right? Player's Guide, Dungeon Masters, Monster Manual, and then if you bought the box set, you got a little thing in the corner, just a little extra book that had something, like spells or whatever. We're going to do one called Cthulhu Invades Aftermath, which will tie all those 3 books together. Like there is one continuous story and there is a talk, but I also I know that if you bought a Neverland book and I show you Dorothy and Alice in that book, you're not going to be happy because that's not what you paid for. You paid for Neverland. So we'll do an Aftermath, which kind of mixes all those together, kind of shows the ongoing plot that was threaded through all those as a small little book. That'll be a box set, kind of put it down, put it on the shelf, and then we'll start the next arc. And that, we've tossed around a whole bunch of ideas from doing a European theme where we do like Robin Hood, King Arthur and Shakespeare, or, Pooh is open domain. Conan's coming up very soon. There's a lot of really cool stuff that we can do coming up. Nice. But as long as they keep selling, I'll keep doing them. But I really think Wonderland is the top. Which is sad because I'm doing the book too. If I strategized that, I would have started with Neverland, Oz, and then Wonderland last. But I didn't plan ahead like that. Because Wonderland, I think it has the most success outside, right? For Oz, you've got Return to Oz, you've got Oz, and you got Wicked. Like those are the 3 major things. You've got The Wiz here, and you may have like a cartoon that some people like or remember. But those are the big things. And then comics have that caliber, but not great. But Alice kills it in every domain. There was that Allison McPhee, like horror Alice game from the 90s. That was fantastic. You've got, Alice has done really good in live action and in cartoon. Alice comics everywhere have always sold. Every month you can find an Alice comic. It's not from the same publisher. But Alice Ever After came out this week. It just kills it. Alice is just that thing. And if you go to a convention, so that's the biggest one. And then Peter Pan, you don't see it all. Like that basically doesn't exist.
Too true. We still love the Lost Boys though.
Right, exactly.
So here's something. I mean, because I know, like, man, you're working with a lot of different creators. So what's your vetting process like? Like when you're going in there, you're like, who? Because you just said you picked all your friends, but that was the first book. Now the second book comes along, you either got new fresh faces. What are you doing? Like who are you calling? Where are you putting up these notices? What are you doing?
So the second one was a little tough. So the second one was me picking out some people like I did the first one, but also me being too nice of a guy where the instant message was like, dude, I really wish I was part of that book. You're in. Come on in. I like you. Like, it was. Do I like you? Do I think you're a problem? That was a vetting process, and then I added them in. It was easy because we have so many characters in Wonderland that there was a character for everybody and the main characters and stuff. But now when we get to Neverland, it's a whole different process, right? Because now I have to be very picky and choosy because there's only like 13 characters. Like period. There's Peter the Lost Boys, a couple of pirates. There's Pocahontas in them, and then you can't even touch them because that's racist. Like they're like literally the name of it. I can't Pekingese or whatever the name of them is a racist name for Indians. Like you really got to be careful. It's not just me being cancel culture. It's literally their name is like people who should be skinned or something like that. You gotta really be careful. He was not a big fan of Native Americans. And you already got H.P. Lovecraft, which if you study him, you already got some drama there. You just gotta be careful.
Yeah.
So you got Tiger Lily, you got some mermaids, you got Tinkerbell. Like that's it. Like you don't got a lot there. If you're shifty like I am, you can pull a couple of. Who makes the the arms and legs of stuff. Peter Pan had a shadow. We lost it. That's a book. Like, you know, you got some extra stuff, but you're really pulling on some threads to get it. And what do you do? Do you put the Lost Boys together or separate them? Because do you really care about the Lost Boys separate? You know, so it's hard. So I got to be a lot more picky. So for this one coming up, I invited 5 pros, and they get first draft, and they're pros that are Marvel DC work first, because we're at that point. I've made some friends in that arena, so I'd love to bring them over. And then I'm gonna then their core team is they're gonna pick 4 people, and then we'll open it up. But it's really gonna be, I have to know you're interested to be part of it. Like, it's not like I don't go, hey, I'm hiring, and because then I get spammed. In fact, I did that. I made a post about maybe you remember it. It was like 9 months ago. And I said, hey guys, just so you know, Neverland is only like 13 characters. So I'm going to be very, very particular on what I pick. So I may not, you may not see an open result. You may not see something. So be careful when you're doing stuff. And apparently that meant, that was my warning that I'm going to get to that. People took that as a submit now. So my email box was submitted. People are pitching. Can I send this? I was like, no, I said less people. That's what I, whatever.
Right. It was just like, oh, get them. Well, listen, it's a good problem to have. You know what I mean?
So, right. Yeah. I did a small post of who I asked who I think should be in it. It was really cool seeing some names pop up and people referring names of people I've never heard of. That's really cool. Right. Like, and people have deep work. Like, have you ever found that guy? You're like, why do you have like 12 books and I've never heard of you and we've never interacted? I've never seen you on a show.
Yeah. That's the craziest thing. You go through Kickstarter, you're like, where did this book pop up from? Where did this person pop up? And you're like, well, who are these people? And you're just like going through them, which is crazy. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like, I mean, yeah. But that's the one great thing is, like, back in the day, when I was going to shows, right, regularly in the early 90s, you would go to a community. Like, I would go to Chicago and there was a whole different group of people, right? And what your normal group is, and then you go down to Miami, it's the same thing. It's different culture and comics. But now everybody's online, and you should be able to see everybody. But once in a while, you do come across a person like, well, this guy, you know,
Well, and I love those guys. I love the guys who are like, Kickstarter is the worst. It's not the way comics are supposed to be made. I'm going to do it on my own. And I'm like, cool, kudos to you. I'll see you at the next con that you show up that I happen to be at. Like, because you don't want to go online for whatever reason. Even though I think your comic's great, I just don't know how to buy it from you because you are stuck in some sort of like trend that this is the way to do it. Cool. And Chicago is great, man. I went to Chicago in 2022, and I have not been back since. I keep telling my wife, I was like, C2E2 is one I got to go to. And she's like, oh, can you get in? I was like, I don't care if I can get in. I just need to go. Like, I don't care if I don't need a table. I just want to go.
Yeah. Beautiful city, man. I mean, I only went there the one time. Beautiful city. You know, it reminds me of Brooklyn. That's the craziest thing is they had the L train. And I was like, wow, this reminds me. It was crazy. It was just like, oh, this reminded me of Brooklyn. It's a little shady in some areas, really nice in others. It's just like, oh, this is like home. So yeah, it was awesome. So, just all right, outside of the Cthulhu stuff, what's your next step? Where are you looking to? Where's Travis Gibb traveling to?
So the next thing, so my calendar. Let me look at my calendar. So the next thing I want to do is Voodoo Nations 3. Cool. So we got Voodoo Nations 3. We've got a new artist from Luke, partly because he got sick, partly because some other stuff. But we've got a new artist, which is really, really cool. Super exciting to do that. Nice. So it's a new book, so we're excited to do that. Then I've got the Broke Down Trade in June. So that's May. That's June's Broke Down Trade. In July, my wife is coming out the story. We're trying to do the Calderon plan. So she's got a book called Pulp Van Winkle. So that's a cool book. I've got a book in October that I can't talk about. That's part of that secret project that I have. And then we're going to do another Holiday Spirits because that did really well last year. So we're going to do another Holiday Spirits book, another anthology. But that's not my book. That's Jerome's book. which is pretty cool because I'm starting to get some publishing gigs. So I haven't announced a lot of them, but I've got some publisher. So as that goes, I'm going to do less crowdfunding and more the direct market and try to figure out what that is. But I still want to do a book, 6 books a year. So I'm going to start taking other people's books and helping them figure out all that stuff, Oh,
that's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, okay. Cool. Hold on. Let me put on a couple of these.
There's a whole bunch here.
The system says, I'm everywhere, Mike. Been on IGG since 2018, but I'll be trying Kickstarter again soon, getting the first Nat the Merc animated episode done too. Nice. Both platforms have their pros, and project can do better at either. You can flop at one and break records on the other. True, I've seen that. Oh my God, I had the same on my second anthology. Nice. Keep in mind, is crowdfunding is definitely not the only way to do it. Heavy advertising on shows and at your website can do the job too.
Absolutely. I love it. I love the fact that some people pitch to like Scout, SourcePoint, or whatever, and finish their 6 issue, and they do it, and they don't ever go to crowdfunding, because when I look at that, I'm like, I'm gonna have to put out how much money before I see any of it back? And maybe it's just you and me who have to pay artists like lots of money. So I'm just like, I can't do that. I need to get Kickstarter to pay them. Like, there's no way I can do that. Even if I had the money in the bank, I think I would be like, no, I got to make my money first. They can do whatever they want second, but I need to.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've said the story before. Jerome Gagnon, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, he does every book for Orange Cone. He is our letter. He's on our staff, basically. He is on our staff. Naked online stripped without clothes. Fantastic. Let me tell you. That's an interesting comment. Oh,
seriously, I get them. I tell you, one day I'm gonna bump into that dude in the street. He's gonna regret it. I'm gonna whip that ass back,
and you'll know it's him because he'll be a naked chick with no clothes.
Exactly. Bitch. Gotcha. Straight into the stroke.
You're gonna Will Smith him. Just
look, Niobe Comics says, "Sign me up." There you go.
But yeah. So we're doing a lot of anthologies and kind of breaking those new grounds and trying to get that, And one of the things that I did intentionally this campaign, that's kind of interesting, is I want to prove to the community that there is no competition. People believe that there's competition. There's just not. I put Cthulhu. I knew Cthulhu was hard to spell. I told him I'm going to launch 2 at the same time. And we are both in the same bracket. And I don't think we would have been, because we complement each other. Someone who likes his book is going to like my book. And they they'll figure out the money thing. I'm not in charge of their money. They'll figure it out. They're big boys and girls who are buying comic books. Guess what? If you go to local comic store, it's adults. Like, we like to pretend that kids are reading. They're not. It's big kids. It's adults who are doing it. They'll figure it out. And I think we've seen it. I think you can see when I launched, because I gave them 2 weeks, because I was smart enough to. There is I do know that we need 2-week pay periods. Like, I am smart enough to figure that out. But when you see me launch, if you look on KickTrack, Cthulhu is hard to spell, got a huge bump, and it kept that bump because I launched. So I was hitting the ground running. He was starting to lose steam. I boosted it back up, and it helps each other out. There is no competition in the marketplace. There is just other stuff. When I go to the comic store, I don't go, sorry, I'm only a Marvel guy. I'm not going to buy a single independent or something. Yes, I know there's a small percentage of that, but most people buy a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, my thing has always been a thing of, I'm not competing like, we're writers, right? So who are we competing against? Am I competing against Alan Moore? No. Am I competing against Frank Miller? Jim Starlin, Walter Simonson, Neil Gaiman, all these other. No, I'm competing with myself. Right. So I'm trying to be a better writer today than I was yesterday, and tomorrow I'll be a better writer than I am today. That's it. You just got to keep pushing forward like that, because the other road leads to madness. The other road leads to madness. You go out there, you try to whip Alan Moore's ass, but listen, I'm not going to say you can't do it, but I might be talking to you in 40 years before you've done it.
Well, and the crazy thing is, like, when you think you're doing okay, and then you read, I read Silver Coin. I know you pick it up. I think you pick it up in trades, though, right? There's a random issue by Jeff Lemire that is the simplest plot in the world. Just a simple plot. It's a janitor who becomes a murderer. Simple, like you can read the whole thing, but it's so beautifully told. Yeah. And then in the back of your mind, you're like, fuck, he would have told that story, even though it's basic as hell. I can predict everything that's happening. It's told so beautifully, and it's better than I could do. That's what stresses me out. Not when they put out masterpieces like a Why the Last Man. I'm like, you do your thing, man. Like, I don't even know. Like, or friggin' someone like Bo Burnham who comes out with like his music special. Like, that guy's brain is way better than mine. You know, James Cameron going, we need a T-1000 in 1996. Like, what? What are you talking about? What? That's not even a thing. Like, we don't even know what that thing is. Yep. Those don't bother me. It's those people who can tell a simple storyline, and you're like, damn it, I don't know what class you took, but you're amazing. Like, this simple story. Those are what impresses me. The simple stories that are told well, that I can predict everything, but it's told so well that I'm like, that is a beautiful comic book. Thank you. And like, those are the ones that drive me the craziest, not the ones that are epics, because you know, I'm just not there. I know what I can do and what I can't, but those simple stories that I know I could tell, and they just told it better.
Right. Yeah. I mean, listen, that's the struggle, right?
Right.
That's the struggle. You got to keep pumping, keep going pumping. I mean, yeah. I think the only time I've ever had a crisis of faith is when I first read Joe Hill on Lock and Key.
Oh.
And I read that, and I was like, fuck, why am I doing this? Right. And and I was just like, I was like, damn it. But yeah, that was.
And like going deep into that too, especially when you get to the bad guy's reveal and motivation and you think you figured it out. And then you had no idea. And his idea was way better than yours ever was.
Yeah.
Because you can compensate for it. Oh, keys that do things. I didn't come up with it, but whatever. I can, you know, oh, they're demons. All right. All right. I can do it. And then you find the motivation and why and the family. And like, mother effer, F you, Joe Hill. You're exactly. And I didn't buy his books. I didn't buy it till the pandemic because I'm from New England. Again, Joe Hill is dominated New England area because Stephen King's from New England. You know, all his books are from New England. So, and I'm from New Hampshire, so I'm friends with all the comic stores up there. So I have a lot of my books in all the comic stores. So Joe Hill's like doing signing here. I'm like, dude, he's just a New England guy. He's Stephen King. And I read The Cape, and the Cape was like, yeah, it was a good story. Like, well done, and loved it. But it was like, you know, the first J. Michael Straczynski when he did his Superpowers book. I can't think of the name of it, but.
Was it Superstars or something like
that? Not Supreme Power. Supreme Power? No, Supreme Power.
Supreme Power because Powers is
Supreme Power, but I don't know if Supreme Power was the like Marvel's DC algorithm or that was the book. But you know the IDW top that one. Yeah. You know, you read the first couple of issues, you're like, oh, this is you're J. Michael Straczynski, like this is below you, and then as you start reading all those characters how they interact, oh, all right. But the first ones you're like, oh, okay. And then Midnight Nation is my favorite of his. That book, it is a shame that has lost it in time because that book is amazing. It's well written. Like in my opinion, should be up there with Watchmen and all those, like a must have for comic books. Because it's a great finite 12-issue story that's really, really epic, really, really drawn. Gary Frank drew it, the guy who does all the stuff. Like, it's so good, and it doesn't get it the credit that it deserves. I don't know where I was going with that, but JMMS is great.
No, listen, I mean, we're going to talk about great writers. We just might as well, you know, it's just one of those, you know.
Well, what do you think what's your biggest hurdle? Like, how do you get the next group of audiences for you? Or are you still trying to figure that out?
All I ever do is try to figure that one out, man. It's because here's the thing, right? When I first started Oswald, it's, you know, I started it during a period when I was working as a professional writer, right? And I had these gaps in time, and I didn't know what to do with them. So I just started writing prose, and it just happened to be the Oswald Chronicles. I just made up this thing, and it was just, let's write this, right? So there was never a plan for it. You know what I mean? It was never like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to focus it like this and do this. No, I was just writing, you know? And, you know, like a genius, I didn't start at the beginning. I started in the middle. Right. And I'm working my way out. And that's why people are like, oh, you know, it's a little confusing. I don't know where you're going. So for the last couple of years, I've been working linear. I started from the beginning and I'm now working my way out. So that's the direction I'm heading now. But it's one of those things, man. It's it's tough. And yeah, finding that crowd, because I'm like, okay, there's somebody like David Peterson on House Guard. Beautiful art. The stories, they're okay. I mean, but the artwork is really what brings in that crowd. So I'm like, okay, there's that. Then you got something like Secret of Nim, right? So I'm like, okay, well, how do I feed into that market? You know, it's one of those things, just trying to find and connect and find that market, man. You know how it is. You know, Cthulhu is a little bit more out there.
Sure, yeah. It sells itself. Right? It's not me. Right.
It's one thing. No, but you, bro, you out there, you're killing it. You're like,
I'm not saying I don't do the work and I don't earn that, because I think if other person had the same idea than me, it may not be successful. It's my drive, the team I picked, all that stuff. Yeah, totally. But I know it sells itself because I go to cons, and when they walk by the table, they're like, "Hey, what's that Cthulhu?" Yeah, all this other stuff. You don't give a shit about all these things I've created, these masterpieces. Let's talk about the one thing you recognize. Let's go. And then hopefully I can sell that other stuff. But, I think you're in that same situation like Cerebrus and ElfQuest, right? You're going to keep doing your stuff. People are going to talk about it. They know what it is. But, you don't know how many copies you have. You don't know which issues you have, because it's got that black and white vibe, and it kind of makes it timeless. Like it's same to Ninja Turtles as well. Like, oh, I got some Ninja Turtles back issues, but you can't name which ones because you don't know. You just picked it because you liked it. You liked the cover. Or maybe you were even disappointed that it was black and white inside. I've done that. You're like, oh, this looks going to be great. Look at this awesome. Oh, it's black and white. And even though the story could have been the best in the world because you had one expectation, you never got past that first page. And going back to ElfQuest, I have never seen an issue of ElfQuest on the store, like to buy it for a monthly rack. I've only seen the trades or at a con, big racks of them of people who quested to get it because it's just a special book. It like has a special intimacy with the fans. And I think the stuff that you and your wife do have that crazy vibe that you can't break, right? This weird, we have this intimate relationship with our fans. It's so intimate that we don't want you in it, but we really need you in it because we need to make some fucking money.
Exactly. I'm old enough that I was around to see the warped versions of the books on the rack of ElfQuest. Right. So I was just like, I was like, yeah, but Arthur Belfield, I heard greatest writer, and I knew my name was coming up. Arthur, this is true. Your name was coming up because you posted it. There you go.
Yeah. Well, doesn't he quit writing every other month? Like, depending on what's going on. Like, come on, Arthur, you gotta write to write.
Exactly.
I keep seeing on your Facebook all these epic things you're writing. Like, let's get an art team. Let's see what's going on. Let's see it.
Arthur's out there. He's kicking it, man. He's a good guy.
Sure he is. Let's see it. Let's see it.
He's good. I want to see his first Kickstarter. That's what I want to see.
He's had a Kickstarter. He's a Black Villain Wanted, I think is what it's called.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. I enjoyed the book. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Shit. Arthur didn't tell me about that when we spoke. Mother flower. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, and then the worst part is, and I'll share a little bit of his story. Like, the minute that book hit, Black Lives Matter kind of came up, and he's like, it's probably not the time to do issue 2. Like, totally get it. But now it's subsided. Like, it's time to do issue 2. Let's do it.
Seriously, man. All right. That means I got to catch up.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. I didn't know that. Because I picked up, he did a book with
Lady Freedom?
Yeah, Lady Freedom.
Yeah.
I picked up the first 2 or 3 issues of that, just straight from my comic shop, which was great.
And that was a Kickstarter too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm not watching.
That was. I think Arthur was hired as a writer. I don't think that was his Kickstarter. Black Villain Wanted was, but I think Lady Freedom was hired. But he was hired to write it, but he wasn't the Kickstarter guy.
Gotcha. All right. Cool. All right. So I'm gonna pull up your campaign so we just take a quick look at it.
Yeah.
We can get into the other craziness. Let's do this. I need to get a producer.
Another guy who sits there and just clicks the buttons.
Pretty much. That's it. So look, you're killing it. 675. You're 37,000, man. It's incredible, man. That's awesome. Now, let me ask you a question. Fulfillment. Are you doing it yourself or are you giving it to a service?
No, I'm going to do it myself. It's something my wife and I want to do it to make sure it's right. So I'm just going to do it. It's not because I want to do it. And I own my own web design company and I have a couple employees, so I can just take the time off to do it. I don't have a 9-to-5 that I have to report to. Like I'm the owner. If I don't want to show up to work, I just won't show up to work. I own the company. Right. So I have the ability to do that. But yeah, I'm going to self-fulfill it. But it's hard, but it's so scary, with the printing paper shortage and all that. It's just crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, wow. All right. Thank you. We're funded. These are really cool.
Yeah. If you backed Cthulhu's Hard to Spell and us, you got a bookmark, trying to do that cross promotion. That's a great little campaign to do some stuff.
Nice. Oh, yeah. I was talking to Maltari about this the other night.
Yeah, it's a beautiful print. We're gonna make it a t-shirt. I'm not sure how that's gonna work, but we're gonna make it a t-shirt. It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, that's an awesome piece. So what's up with this? What's this whole thing with milestone rewards?
Yeah, so this is a good technique for anybody who's thinking about doing a Kickstarter. I recommend doing it at 25 instead of 50. I do it 50 because I knew that we were going to have a lot of pledges because I know the numbers, I know all that. But I recommend anybody who's doing a smaller campaign to do 25. And what I do is I give a digital reward. So I ask some of my friends if they'd be willing to donate books. I'm always willing to donate books. But what it gives you the opportunity to do is do an update share. So one of the tricks in Kickstarter is doing update shares. So you share, like I would share the Oswald Chronicles to all the backers, because that's the easiest way to get fans, guys, is if you're doing an update, they've already backed the book, so they're willing to back Kickstarters. It's way better than any other marketing. Sharing on Facebook is, hey, maybe they like Kickstarters, maybe they don't. These people do like Kickstarters, so that allows me every 50 backers, I can make a new post to talk about it and share another campaign.
Nice.
And we'll get you on that list. You've got like 12 days left, right?
Yeah.
We'll get you before the end. I'll get you before the end. No problem.
Okay, that sounds good. I mean, if you want, I have product.
You have PDFs. You can give me a PDF for days.
Exactly. Yeah. I got a $40 level that has, I think, 1,200 pages worth of PDF for you.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, man. No, this stuff. Who's this artist? Well, okay, this thing keeps flipping up.
Yeah, keep scrolling. So that's Gambit, Elias Gambit. That's Staniak. That is Rob Maltari's guy. I can't think of his name. Carlos. That is Patrick Bruin from Granite State Punk.
Nice.
That's Carl Moline is the guy. He does Buffy. That's Claire, and that's Chris Matt.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I know, right? It's like, whoo, got them all. All right. Nice. So who are the 3 different cover artists, man?
All right. So on the left, that's our hardcover. So that's by Kyle Willis. And what's cool about that, let me show you. I have a copy of here of Oz. Make me big for a second, if you don't mind.
Yes.
So he did this cover for Cthulhu Invades Oz, and he did the same thing for that. This is only in the hardcover. If you scroll, see all the lines, he draws it, he paints it right on a canvas of the art of the story. So this was Dorothy, obviously. So it's on a Wizard of Oz, canvas that he plastered down. You could see the little Dorothy right there. Same thing with that one. So that one's done on Wonderland, which is really, really cool. That's part of the thing. Hey.
Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button.
Now you got to go back to the share. But yeah. So that was that one. His name's Kyle Willis. He runs a shop out in Jacksonville.
Okay, hold on. Let's do this.
Did you lose us?
Yeah, I'm screwing up. Like I said, this is why I need a producer, man.
It's the ones towards the end. So the three in the end. There's like 6 buttons. The ones there.
There we go. I got it.
So the one to the right is the standard. That's by Etienne. I cannot pronounce his last name. He's French Canadian. I apologize. Gotcha. And then the Orange Cone exclusive, which that's one basically where I'm just doing for me. So when I give out comps to creators, they're going to get standard limited edition, and they'll get maybe 1 or 2 Orange Cone, but not in any massive quantities. That's kind of, you got to get it from me, from my table, from this campaign. So that's how you get that one, and that's the Virgin one.
Gotcha. Nice.
And then we did the same thing for Oz. You know, we had an Orange Cone exclusive, and then we had the standard and the.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, listen, I really enjoyed this book because I backed the second book, and then the reason I did is because I enjoyed the first one so much. You know, which is this is awesome.
And we were able to get you glow in the dark and all sorts of cool stuff on the first one.
Yeah.
You know, I asked your wife to be part of this, but she was too busy.
Yeah. She'll do that. You know, she'll do things like that. I'm like, okay.
But I will. Let me say this though. That does sound like a negative, but she did say, "Hey, if we wanted to do a print or something, she was more than willing." But I wasn't at that stage. Like prints are like the last thing I think of, not the first. Artists think of those things early. We do. Our writers don't. Like we're last minute going, "Hey, can you do something? When do you need it? I needed it yesterday."
Yeah. No. Yeah, I'm seeing here where you can see the text.
Yeah.
In the background where he did the stuff. Yeah, that's really nice. That's awesome.
He's very, very cool when he does that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a 24. Yeah, we printed that for a convention for MegaCon last year. 24-page convention exclusive. You can get that on the campaign. That's the only way to get that cover. And it's just a floppy, but you can read it a little bit below. You can click on it. And you can read the first 24 pages.
Oh, cool. Nice.
And that's a little sampling of each of the stories in the creative teams.
Awesome.
So as you can see, it's different styles, different art, all sorts of really, really cool stuff, you know.
No, it looks incredible. I mean, listen, man. I mean, you run a tight ship, and you like, you pick great artists. And the stories were excellent. So I mean, listen, man, it's a great package.
So what you're saying is Cthulhu invades Oswald Chronicles. You ready?
Oh, bro, it's coming on its own. It's coming on its own. One day. Okay, so all right, so you got digital. All right, hold on. Let's scroll this. All right, physical.
Yeah. So that's physical digital. Digital starts at $12, and then we have two different levels. One with Oz, and then one with what we do director's commentary. What I do is I do a StreamYard like this. But I bring someone from every story to kind of talk about their story, how it came to be, and we do an audio and commentary. We did that for Oz, and we'll do it again for Wonderland.
Cool.
So that you can get a set of the books, plus audio commentary. You can get Oz and Wonderland digitally, at a discount, which is really cool.
Nice.
So, and then, the hardcover in digital, we get all sorts of packages. And we get the metal bookmarks. I don't know if you ever saw those.
No, let me see.
Let me see if I can find one. I had one here. Here's a collector's box, by the way.
Hold on. Let me make you large.
Yeah. Collector's boxes are really, really good. It fits all your stuff.
Oh, so cool.
We do a lot of detail on them. And then in it, we'll come with the books, and then we'll have like bookmarks. See these really nice metal bookmarks?
Yeah, those are awesome.
I think you guys did this for the Long Sharks campaign, right? These are probably the same company, Ready Comics?
Probably.
Yeah.
I know Anthony, the guy who set that up, he's worked with a bunch of different people.
Yeah. It's a great little feature. The box is really nice. It's sturdy. It looks good on your.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry. I keep hitting the damn wrong button. I'm an idiot. Like I said, I need a producer. All right. All right, cool. I mean, the campaign looks incredible.
Thanks.
I mean,
all right. Let's do that. Yeah, CthulhuInvades.com. There's all sorts of options. They can check it out, JD. They'll look at it. They'll find it. It's not hard to find. And if you missed it, I'll be on a podcast, I'm sure, tomorrow that you'll see. So just talk to me then, and we'll do the tour. No big deal. Madeline said, good box. Thank you, Madeline. Madeline, when are you launching, or are you launched? I don't know. Is Boston Metaphysical out right now, or no?
No, she's launching, I think, soon, because I'm interviewing her, I think, next weekend.
Okay.
So she told me
my campaign ends, probably, because I end next week, a week from now on April 14th.
Gotcha. I'd back that, Travis. There you go.
Thanks, back it.
Daphne says that before calendar. There you go. Yeah, definitely back it, man. It's a quality book. That's one thing. Like I said, I backed the first one, enjoyed the hell out of it, and that's why I backed the second one. You know, and I was just like, yeah, I need to get that one. All right, so
we put a lot of effort in production, you know, and I totally get it, and I love Kickstarter for it. That any level of creator can come onto Kickstarter. You can know how to put together a perfect book with, you know, perfect good graphics that look professional, or you can just wing it and you print. It looks like you printed at home. And you've been around long enough. Do you remember the girls, the Luna brothers from the Girls?
Yes. Yeah.
He had a Kickstarter, which you probably missed because most people did. He only got like 126 backers. I mean, that book was huge. But that book, and I'm going to call him out because I don't know him, is the biggest, the lowest quality book I have ever held. It literally felt like it was going to fall apart. Like it's worse than the Marvel and DC stuff that's coming out right now. Because if you don't know, the paper shortage has affected. It's really bad quality. Like this is like printer paper, like literally what you'd buy at Office Depot, like put together. It's so, and it's such a heartbreaking thing when you go, this guy. Girls was such an iconic book for the Luna brothers, and they did some stuff. They did the sequel. I don't remember what Ultra, I think. Like they had a great run of comic books, and to see them not worrying about quality for a book, like where us indie guys are paying like almost $3.50 a book, barely making $1 a book to give you the best quality, and a former pro doesn't give a crap, and his art is better than ours. Like I'm not, because he's a pro. Like it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to me.
All right, cool. All right, Travis, we've been at this for a minute. We're not done just yet, but you know we're almost there. But I got a bunch of goofy questions for you first. But before we get there, let's do this. Where can people find you and your work, sir?
Find me at Cthulhu Invades. I don't care about anything else right now. CthulhuInvades.com.
Nice. There you go. Go buy the book. Awesome book. Now, so we've done this before. So I've asked you this question, right? So I'll put a little bit of a spin on it. If you did get a chance to pick one of your favorite artists to do a cover for you, you had choice, didn't matter. Now, I don't want your first pick. I want your third pick. Who would be the third person on your list to do a cover for you? Don't worry about the budget, living or dead.
Oh, living or dead, that's a completely different. That's really sad because you take out Jack Kirby so fast. That's probably why you go to the third, because you know Jack's where are you go, Jack?
Right.
I would probably, damn it, because obviously I'd want to go Jim Lee, but he'd be way up there. So it'd be one of two people. So it'd be David. It's Dave Johnson, the guy who does the 100 Bullets covers, right?
I know.
Yeah. So he would be one, because I like crime. Most of my stuff is crime and gritty, so that would be someone to do that. That would be my first choice, I think, for covers, and then probably my second. And I'm going to give you a little inside baseball here too. I actually tried to get him because I had like $2,000 in the account that my grandmother gave me for thing. I was like, I tried to get him, but I couldn't. And that's Patrick Murphy, Sean Murphy, not Patrick Murphy.
Oh, okay.
Punk Rock Jesus, like does all the White Knight stuff. Like his art is, I just love that sketchy, cool feel to it. I'd love him to do one of his grunge type covers for me. But that list is long, from Phil Hester to Mike Magnolia to Kevin Eastman. Oh my God,
Yep.
There's a lot in that third pick option.
I know. It's just the list is huge, no matter where. It's just we had our brothers about us, right? All right, now
who's yours? I want to know yours.
My third pick. Dennis Beauvoir.
Okay.
Painter. Yeah, probably Dennis Beauvoir. Yeah, my first pick is always Arthur Adams. So
sure. Yeah. Why not?
And then maybe my second pick. Michael Kaluta.
Yeah.
Michael William Kaluta.
I would love to see any of you or your wife's books with an Alex Ross cover. Like I would just love this. These are cartoons. Go nuts. Let's see what you do, because he's always trying to go as realistic as possible. I'd love to see what I really want to see that. Like I wanted to do a Mickey Mouse or Goofy. Like I wanted to do an animated character. I want to see an Alex Ross.
Yeah. No, I got you. All right, so we'll go for this one. Now, so if they gave you the golden ticket, you were able to go up to the big companies, right? And they told you to pick any IP you wanted. Give me your number 2. Like, what's the number 2 IP you'd want to work
on? Again, this is one of 2. It'd be either Gambit. I'd want to do Gambit, and the reason why I'd want to do Gambit, like my number 1s are always going to be X-Men, Spider-Man, something like that. But my number 2s are going to be people who I want to make them a long run. Mm-hmm. That's my goal. Like I want to take a character like a Darkhawk or a Gambit and make them a long run, like character. The other one would be Ninja Turtles, but not the core Ninja Turtles. I would have. So I would take the Techno Turtle. I'd take Slash. I would take Venus, the missing turtle that they have, that they kind of got rid of and is coming back in the new one. And then I would take the new yellow turtle. I can't think of her name right now. I don't know why. Which I read Turtles, so I don't know why I can't think of it. But I would take them and make a Ninja Turtles team, and kind of like them being like the replacement team, which I think is really fun, and it's really cool in Turtles continuity that they've gone to this point, right? Where you have 4 separate turtles that aren't the Ninja Turtles that can fight, can do something. So I would love to do that.
All right, cool. Nice. All right. Now I got some comparatives for you, right? Yeah. So we're not gonna softball you. So we're gonna start off tough. No, it's not really that tough, Bone or Cerebus?
Bone.
Okay. Like Cerebus I said,
somebody is better written, but Bone is a better book.
That's fair enough. All right. Here's one: Dune 1984 or Dune 2021?
That's hard. I'm gonna go 84 just because but it's probably because of rose-colored glasses.
That's cool. Yeah, I watched both of them back to back, and I was like, interesting. Right. I don't know. Did you see the new one?
Yeah. I saw that. You had to. I didn't get to see it on the big screen, which I hear is where I needed to see it.
Right.
But yeah, I saw it. I like it. I do think it has. I think it has a better chance. Remember when Stargate came out? It was like, this is the new Star Wars. And then we never got a Stargate sequel. And then got a TV show like 20 years later. I do think Dune is that new Star Wars thing. Like they haven't bastardized it enough. So I think it will do well.
Gotcha. Kirk or Picard?
Kirk. He punches you in the face.
Nice. Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers?
Jason. I don't like Michael Myers at all. I don't get the life from him. I don't understand it in any way of me. I just don't.
All right. Fair enough. Eisner or Toth?
Ooh. Well, I want to win an Eisner, so I got to go on that one. That's but that maybe I have more invested in Eisner. But to be honest, I would say that comparison, because I know what they both have done, but I've never done the deep dive like I should. Like, because you could ask me like tons of Marvel or DC. I mean, we've had some deep cuts here today, from the Luna Brothers to J. Michael. Like, I've got some deep cuts, but I haven't studied either of them enough. Like, I know the basics. Like, I can get in a dinner conversation, but I've never done that deep cut. Like, you needed to own this work, and this is his best work. I can't tell you any of that. I just tell you the laundry. Let's sit at a coffee table. I know what I'm talking about. I write comics.
Gotcha. No, that's cool. I would always pick Eisner because I met him in person.
Fair.
Yeah. Doctor Strange or John Constantine?
Constantine, all day long. Better character, better everything.
Okay. Harry Potter or Narnia?
Oh. I'm gonna go Narnia. Narnia has the better lore, I think. You know, yes, it has the Christian, thing to it, but I still think it's good. And I'm just what I think is which one would I want to be public domain first, and that's Narnia, not Harry Potter.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, it shouldn't be too far off, right?
No, believe it or not, that was written. I actually was in another interview. They're like, dude, you should do Narnia. I was like, let's look that up. It was 1952. That book is not that old.
It's not that old. Yeah. You got a while to wait for that one.
I think we think of it as old because we think of World War II, and neither of us were alive then, but our grandparents were.
Right. Yeah. That's crazy. No, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say all those, the Tolkien, they always suggest Lord of the Rings. Yeah, that's not coming for a long time either. All that stuff.
Twilight Zone or Outer Limits?
Ooh, I like Outer Limits more, but the history and the lore and the spec, you got to give to Twilight Zone.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Here we go. Neil Gaiman or Grant Morrison?
Neil Gaiman. He educates me, does amazing things, and I don't need to pick up not a text to understand his writing or read it 4 times like Grant Morrison. Not that I don't enjoy doing that, but I like that when I read a Neil Gaiman book, I understood everything that went on. When Grant Morrison, I'm just like, did I understand that everything going on? And then I read it again. I'm not 100% sure. Then you do some research, watch a YouTube video, you read it one more time. I got it, Gaiman. Grant, I got it. I'm with you. Damien is Batman's son.
Nice. Terminator or RoboCop?
Terminator. Terminator is my all-time favorite movie. Like this is kind of embarrassing to me, especially. So I have a film degree. My degree is in film production, and going in front of the class and everyone's like, "It's Schindler's List" and all these things. I'm like, it's Terminator. And the reason why it was the first movie ever in my life that I saw a woman who I felt was like my mom, weak and not couldn't accomplish anything, be a fucking badass by the end of the movie. And then you get Terminator 2 in canon, you're like, oh my God, that she's badass. I think that transition, and I think it does it better than Alien, because Sigourney Weaver was kind of a tough ass right coming out of the pod. She kind of, had a little spunk. But Sarah Connor didn't have that. She was weak. Right. She was running from the cops, and then by the end, she's trying to pull down the shotgun and being all tough. So Terminator is my all-time favorite movie. Screw you, Detroit.
Dave Stevens or Adam Hughes?
Adam Hughes.
Okay, fair enough. Bram Stoker or Mary Shelley?
I like Dracula more, but Mary Shelley's the Frankenstein's written better, in my opinion. But I'm still going to give it to Dracula just because it has produced more good movies than bad, where Frankenstein has not.
Okay, fair enough.
Now, Twilight, I think Bram owes us some money, but other than that.
Nice. Well, I was lucky. I heard about it. I knew not to watch.
Did you hear the joke that they talk? There's a joke that talked about what's his name? What is his name? Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson's the worst vampire in the world. It took 20 years for him to turn into a bat.
Right. There you go. Exactly. I mean, have you seen that movie? The Batman movie?
Batman, yeah. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I liked it until the 3 endings.
Okay, right.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. We're at the riddle of thing. This is my ending. I'm good. Oh, no, you got to fight some guys. Okay, all right. I'm good with you. Well, let's fight those guys. All right, the guys are beaten. We're all good now. No. You got to say goodbye to Catwoman. All right, so I guess I got another half hour. That was my only problem with the movie. Until that point, I was all in. But you had 3 times to end that movie. And long shots, right? The Catwoman. It's a long 5-minute scene of them going different. Come on. Yep.
For me, it was because they had Patterson in there, and I'm I watched the movie and I was like, did they really need that guy? Because they could have put anybody there. I mean, any good-looking actor they could have put in that suit, because that movie was all the director.
Right.
You know, there was nothing in it that was like we really needed him.
No, I agree. But the Riddler, what I liked about the director, and especially the Riddler scene, when he took off all the garb and it got us comic fans our Riddler, right? And we're like, oh, he's there, and you understand him, like deeply understand him. You just did a different movie. Like, I forgive you for all that stuff that I didn't like. Like this is my guy. He's there. You look at him. He's so great.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right. So like I said, we'll ask you a couple more, and then we'll wrap. Frank Miller or Alan Moore?
Frank Miller. Sin City, Daredevil are my jam.
Yeah, Daredevil. Oof, man.
Yeah. Are you thinking about getting that Alan Moore training though? That's been going around. Have you seen that?
I've been seeing it. Yes, I've been thinking about it. But it's one of those things. I'm thinking about it just because I'm so damn curious. Right. I'm like, what did he tell you? Have you ever seen his interviews?
Yeah, he's nuts.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, how can this man? Because he's obviously a genius, but it's just like, how can this man impart that lunacy to us?
Right.
Right.
Well, and I did the Neil Gaiman one, and I did get stuff out of it, but it was really basic. So if you followed Neil Gaiman and you're a guy who reads interviews and stuff like that, you've got all that information. You don't need to buy the $200 thing. So that I don't appreciate what he caught, but I didn't learn anything that I didn't already know about storytelling. You know, if you're a rookie writer, sure, get it, but I didn't get it. So that's my hesitation, is I've already shelled out $200 to hear Neil Gaiman speak. Do I want to hear the crazy of a madman and like have to pick up like some satanic Bible that's only found in Europe at this one bookstore? Because I'm pretty sure Alan Moore is going to recommend that.
Yeah. Or he just might tell you, go read Prometheus.
Right.
It's all in there.
It's all in there. If it's not in there, League Restored to a Gentleman, it's in there. Like, keep reading.
Exactly. All right, cool. Well, I'll hit you over two last questions, and then we'll wrap it. Todd McFarlane or Arthur Adams?
Todd McFarlane. Though that's only I would have given it to Arthur until the most recent resurgent where Todd McFarlane decided to give a crap about comics again. Like, he didn't care for years. It was just doing action figure. But when it got to 300, even though he's not 300,
right?
James Sims still has it. I don't give a shit what he says. The only person who's going to beat James Sims is Eric Effin Larson. Because he's not going to stop until he gets there. Because Todd left. Yeah, he did something on every book, but he didn't draw every panel or anything like that. Where Eric Larson, do you even remember? So there was like the issue where everybody switched their titles and wrote a different issue. He rewrote another issue 7 or whatever issue that was to make sure he wrote every issue. Like, the guy's nuts.
The only other guys, the two other guys out there who have done equivalent like amounts of work, but they haven't been, I think in the case of Stan Sakai, because it's not sequential, like I'm pretty sure he's up to like 250 or something by at this point. You know, he's done so much Usagi. And Fred Perry from Gold Digger, the most hardworking dude you never heard of, you know?
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like, whenever someone talks about like the love of art and Arctic Press, I was like, they have gold diggers. They have no, they have gold diggers. That's their thing. They have ninja nuns. Yes, they have ninja high school. All that. It's gold diggers. That is the only book that has stood the test of time, never disappeared, never wavered. But it's still, he's under numbers, if I'm not mistaken. What's Gold Diggers at? I mean, I just looked it up the other day.
Yeah, I think he's up to 260. I don't even know. I get the preview every month.
He's actually up pretty high. He's at 281.
There you go. Yeah, see. I mean, that's and it's all him.
Yeah.
The dude did 2 animated movies on his own. I'm like, dude, like too much. I'm
gonna check where Savage Dragon is. I know where we're at. Okay, I found his wiki. Hold on. I got to figure out what issue we're at. Hopefully he updated his website. Come on, Eric. Well, he's at 264, so he's actually beating
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. That dude is a monster. All right. So all right, here we go. Okay. Buffy or Supernatural?
Buffy.
Okay.
Though I haven't watched all Supernatural, so maybe if I get around to it, it's just it's very daunting when you start late. You're like,
yes.
Am I ready? I'm not sure if I'm ready.
Yeah. I have this crazy thing where I binge watch like a couple of seasons, right, in like a month, and then I won't watch it. I won't watch another season for like a year or 2 years, and then I'm like, okay, now it's time to watch it again. All right, we'll end it on this one. The Rock or Stone Cold?
Ooh, The Rock. Though seeing Stone Cold back this weekend was pretty awesome. But I love the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. I love that guy. He's great. The Rock, Stone Cold's probably, and I think The Rock's a better wrestler, but I think Stone Cold represents more wrestling. Okay? He never moved. Even when he does TV, like you're Stone Cold. Like The Rock has played other characters.
Yeah. He's actually turned into an actor, which is crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm watching The Young Rock. I don't know if you've got any episodes of that. It's really good.
Okay. No, I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Well,
Travis, thank you for coming, man. This was awesome. And so, people, please, Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, go check it out. It's on Kickstarter. You got what, 5 days, 6 days?
6 days left. Yeah. So it ends a month, literally a week from now, April 14th, which is my birthday.
Nice.
So nice. A week from now. So come on in, and I'm going to do a big podcast and do it. And Oswald Chronicles, when does it end?
I still have another 12 days. So we still have a little bit of time. So go check the Oswald Chronicles out. The crazy mouse is moving forward,
Is this the middle of an arc, or is this the beginning of a new arc?
Everything. This is the beginning of a new arc. So it's not even, it's just short stories. So it's just a new short story. So we're moving in that direction. All right, Travis, man, thank you so much for coming. And one more time, please let everybody know where they can find you and your work.
CthulhuInvades.com. Find me there, and then we'll bring it to other places.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. And you can find me here every Sunday, and you can find me here during the week, Facebook, Kickstarter, all that other stuff, JD Calderon, and the Oswald Chronicles. Go check it out. Thank you so much, Travis. It was awesome. People, I'll be talking to you all soon.
Thank you.